name is Sharice, and I'm here at Potter Palace 509 in the eastern part of Washington State, and my zone is Zone 6B, but I think it kind of fluctuates Zone 6A, even maybe Zone 5B. Like this winter, we've already gotten down to, like -9, which I think Zone 5B is like -10 or something. So anyways, that's just kind of a rough estimate. Really, we have about 156 to 158 days of growing season of spring once my fall past my frost date, spring frost to fall frost dates. So that is more of what I pay attention to, how many days to maturity, like that kind of thing. So I have a very novice gardener. I mean, we've always had a garden. I grew up with my grandparents gardening, and my mom always had a garden when she could, or containers of food, and always house plants and things like that. So I've always been around things that have been growing, things like that. So we bought our house in 2006, and we put beds in probably maybe a couple of years after that. We have a corner lot, so our yard is like a U shape. So the front east facing is our garden area, and then over on the other side now this year I'm going to utilize that space too because it's shady. The other part is mostly sunny, and then the other side it gets a lot of nice shade and then afternoon sun. So I'm going to put my shadier crops on the opposite side of my house this year. So anyways, I'll probably go into another video on all the things I'm going to do this year differently and more about my gardening experience and things like that. So I have been starting seeds this will be my 3rd year. So my 1st year, I started a bunch of seeds. I didn't have quite all the equipment. I had to rotate a lot of things around because I think I only had like maybe one or two grow lights. And it wasn't very fun. It was very overwhelming, and I ended up, everything died, and I didn't plant any of my seedlings. I ended up buying plants that year and putting them in the ground, which is fine. So last year, I ended up starting a bunch of stuff again, and I was able to successfully pot everything up. I got a little bit more equipment, was able to successfully pot everything up. I do think I went and I got a few things out too early after the hardening off process. I jumped the gun on that a little bit and lost a few things. Everything's always learning, so it's fine. So this year I'm really gonna watch the weather and watch my temperatures, and really, because I really want a flourishing garden. We've always had kind of a mediocre garden, or like it's okay, or 1 crop or 2 crops will do really good. Things like that. So, but I want a really nice garden. So last year, started on my seeds, got them all out and everything. Most of them lived. I did buy a few plants, but most of them lived and did well. As far as for the weather, it was a weird year last year. As everyone knows, in my area, it was super, super wet and not very warm until late in June, and then got really, really hot, and it was just weird. So not very successful. Anyways, back to seeds. So that was good. So this year I've upped my game again. Because last year I had to still rotated my trays around. I had like 7 to 8 trays of seedlings, so I rotated them around. So I don't think that my strategy was the best to have really good seedlings. I mean, they looked beautiful. To me, I did great. It was fine. But now, knowing what I know now, like this year I just got a new rack, so I have grow lights on every single unit shelf. The 2 hood grow lights that I have, I'm going to have my husband hook up so that I'll have some on the top, but I will go into all that in another video and show you. So this year is the 1st year I've ordered seeds. So I ordered seeds from Baker Creek and My Gardener, and those are new to me, 2 new places to me. I have gotten seeds from Botanical Interests, Lake Valley Organics, and Renee's Garden in the past. And so I have those two as well. Excuse my makeshift. All right, so let's get into it. So I'm starting with the furthest out. I've got some strawberries, some red and yellow Wonder Blend strawberries from Botanical Interest. And then some Alpine Pineapple Heirloom Strawberries from Renee's Garden. Neither one of these are going to put runners out, so I feel like these will be a really nice for like on the border of things. And I'm going to start them fairly early, like beginning February, because they are 100, like these ones are 150 days. And like I said, my growing season is only about a week longer than that. So I want a head start. So these are going to be started soon. It's January 6th today. So I have 3 weeks or 4 weeks. And then I have some onions. I got some red bunching onions from My Gardener. I really like My Gardener seed. Their seed packet's really, really easy to read. I put her to some. Renee Gardeners are the worst ones. They are not the greatest. They try to put a lot of information on there, and it doesn't have some do, but some don't have a real direct, like, this is what you do. It's kind of like, yeah. So red bunching onion Cabernet. I live in a long onion zone, growing zone, long season, or long day onion. So long and intermediate onions are going to do better in my area. Walla Walla. I live about 3 hours from Walla Walla. I grew up there when I was a kid for a while. Walla Walla onions are delicious. I got some long purple eggplant, and I got some Black Beauty eggplant. Both of those I grew last year, and they were yummy. I've grown Walla Walla sweet onions before, but I grew them from sets, not seeds. So, and they did well, and they were yummy. I've never grown the purple bunching onions, but I have grown green onions before with white bunching onions, and those were yummy. This year I am growing celery, so this gets pretty big, the Utah tall celery, so I'm excited about that. And lots of pepper, Sugar Rush Peach. This pepper is like a sweet pepper with some smoky complex heat, it says. We got the Jigsaw pepper, which is just gorgeous. Look at those variegated leaves. This has the heat of a jalapeno. And I'm upped my flower game this year like 100-fold. Last year I grew chamomile, lemon balm, calendula, and cosmos, and some flowers. And this year I've upped it quite a bit, so I got some violas, and I like to do things that I can eat that have multi-purpose, so these are edible, and aren't they adorable? I'm gonna have lots of them flowering and bordering my beds and stuff this year. And then when you order from Baker Creek, they send you free seeds when you order so much, and this was one of those, and it was a datil seed, and this is a Vicious Heat. Complex fruity flavor, it says. So I might make some of this or sprout some for a friend of mine, or make some hot sauce with it. Yeah. And then we've got some bee balm, which I've grown before, and it's very good. I love bee balm. Very medicinal. It's really good for for the bees. They love it. English lavender, which lavender is one of those things that I really have a hard time keeping alive. It's a perennial in my zone. I'm in zone 6, so zone 6 to 9. So hopefully I can get that to do well. The Marcano Rossi pepper. I grew a lot of peppers last year, and the only ones that really did well for me were my shishitos, the Hatch, and like a jalapeno variety. But like I said, it was really weird, and and I haven't had irrigation. Irrigation is one of the things I'm doing this year. I'm putting in drip and mushroom and sprout heads and all sorts of things. So I'm not going to be, we've been hand watering in the past, and then last year we utilized our sprinkler system, and it just wasn't very effective, and I have a feeling that's probably one of the reasons why things didn't do very well. And then we got some California Wonder Peppers. We've got some shishitos that did well last year. These are good, I like them. We've got hot salsa blend peppers. This has Anaheim, Hungarian wax, long slib red cayenne, jalapeno, and ancho. So I wish I knew. Sometimes when you get blends from certain places, I know that they'll color code the seeds. This one they didn't, so it'd be cool to get some of all of those peppers, but I don't know if that's the case. Peppercini peppers, because they're delicious. And again, like I said, up to my flower game. So snapdragons are gorgeous, and I love them. They remind me of when I was a kid. My grandmother used to grow them, and I would pick the heads off and make them talk. And that's what I plan to do with my granddaughter. And I got a cone, a green twister coneflower. I have a type of echinacea, and it's gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? So very medicinal. I got another snapdragon. This is like a low growing snapdragon. And then this is a tall growing snapdragon that I'm excited about growing. And then this is I'm excited about this one, the habanada pepper. It's supposed to be like a habanero, but it has no heat. It's a sweet pepper. Yum. All right, and we've got some pink plume celery. Isn't that just gorgeous? I love celery, so I couldn't pass that up. Broccoli rabe. My family and I love broccoli. Lots of tomatoes. We got the Sweetie cherry tomato, which is very prolific and delicious. I've grown these before, and cherry tomatoes usually do really well. The Sun Gold tomato, which I'm very excited about this season. I do think I've grown these before in the past, not in the last few years, but these are a delicious tomato. Another free seed from Baker Creek, the little spoon tomato, and they're a micro tomato. So I think I might get a green stalk, and I'm thinking instead of getting one 7 tier, I might get 2, 3 tiers and do, because I have another few micro tomatoes, and do one with micro tomatoes and then the other one with some strawberries. I want to get some everbearing strawberries to put in there so that they can hang over. So I'm hoping to get some of those too. But these little tomatoes looked really yummy. An anise noir tomato. Those are just plain beautiful. So I like pretty things, so I just had to get those. The mushroom basket tomato looks like a beautiful big fat heirloom tomato. So I'm excited to grow that one. The Isis candy cherry. So that is fun. Yeah. And then we've got the purple bumblebee. And I think this one here, hold on, super fruity and sweet, and it will remind you why tomatoes are considered fruit. That was this one. It's supposed to be really sweet. So I'm gonna see how sweet this compares to that Sun Gold, which is a real sweet one too. And the sweeties are very sweet as well. The purple bumblebee tomato, this is a cherry variety as well. And then we got the little finger eggplants that I mentioned earlier. This is starts 6 to 8 weeks. This is a shorter growing, or you start it later than you do the other two I showed you. That's why it's in this pile. Some milkweed, soulmate milkweed. I try to get, it's perennial in my zone because I want to do everything for the butterflies, and this is what monarchs love to lay their eggs in. And I believe they were just put on the endangered species. So get some milkweed and plant it for your butterflies. And I love ornamental shrubs. I put some ornamental like spiky grasses out on the other side of our garden fence last year when I made a little bed, and then put sunflowers and some of those spiky plants because I just like ornamental grasses and stuff. So I got some bunny grass, and I might get a few different grasses, but some bunny tails grass. And they make these like cute little tails on them. And some lemon balm. I love lemon balm, and I plant it every year. It's a perennial, I believe, in my zone, so I'm hoping this stuff, I don't know though, I might not have known that when I prepped my garden for fall, winter, and I think I might have pulled it all out. My bad. Now going forward, I know, so I will make sure that I keep it in the ground because I think it's perennial. So I got regular lemon balm, which I harvested, and it's amazing, and I have it in tea in my little herbal apothecary back here. But I'm going to grow mandarina lemon balm, which is going to taste like mandarins. This is going to be delicious in tea. It's going to smell amazing. It's going to be good in iced tea, hot tea. It's going to be delicious. I'm excited about it. I got flat leaf parsley because it's just good, and who doesn't like parsley? Narrow leaf butterfly milkweed. I got more milkweed. I got another variety. This is perennial in my zone as well. I got some Viola Johnny Jump Ups. And then this is a little yellow patio tomato, a micro tomato. I have these growing right now inside under a grow lamp, and I have they're sprouted, and I have red ones too. I'm not sure where those are. They're around here somewhere in the next pile. Anyway, and they are sprouted and they're actually doing very well. So I'm excited to kind of pop them up soon and get them under these grow lights now so that I can try to see if maybe I can do like an indoor little micro tomato in like a gallon bag or something. It's fun just to experiment. You never know. If you have the right conditions. San Marzanos, which were delicious last year. I did get a few of these. And then this is just the beefsteak tomatoes, which are just a nice, good slicing sandwich tomato. Nasturtiums are probably one of my favorite flowers, and these are delicious. I couldn't pass them up. They're beautiful. The Purple Emperor. Nasturtiums are edible from the seed to the vines to the leaves to the flowers. Everything is edible. You can actually use the seeds and make them like a caper. I might try that because that sounds interesting to me. Nasturtiums. I got some fennel, some Vihino Florence. I grew this last year and it was yummy. I only got one stalk. I planted like 4 seeds and only one germinated and grew. We got some Cherokee purple tomatoes, which are delicious tomato. I did get these last year and they were really good. A lot of them started to blush on the vine and then I picked them. Once they start to blush and they get that nice blushing pink red on them, you can pick them and they will ripen and continue to get nice and sweet on the counter. So that's what I did and it worked fine. I got some celery, some celery root. I've tried growing this before and it didn't really work very well, so I'm gonna try again. Maybe. This might be one of the ones I might not grow again this year. And I'll do a video on that. Here's some lemon balm, regular lemon balm. Lemon balm's really easy to grow. Some impatiens. We got some cypress vine. I tried growing this last year and it did sprout and start to grow, but it was super, super late in the season and it just didn't have enough time. So we'll do that one again. And moonflower. I did moonflower last year and that one too, so I might get some more of those. Green zebras, which these were delicious. I did get some. And then we got another just aroma tomato. These are a good paste tomato along with the San Marzanos. And then this is the other little cherry tomato. It's a tumbler tomato for a small growing space. So that, and then we've got some little cucamelons, mouse melons. I'm excited to try these. I've been wanting to, and I think I'll like them. It says they taste like a cucumber and the hint of tartness like a pickle. So it sounds interesting, but I'm excited to try them. And more nasturtiums. This is a trailing variety, and I got these because we have a really cute little wooden wishing well that we're gonna put Penny's wishes on it, which Penelope's our granddaughter, we call her Penny. And then I wanted to do like a horticulture because it's pretty deep inside. Fill it up with some wooden stuff and then just put soil in like the top part and then plant like a trailing flower. So I thought these nasturtiums, what better flower than an edible flower? So I'm gonna do that with those nasturtiums. And then these little personal love mini watermelons that sound really good. It's basically like a single person watermelon. I tried growing melons last year and I actually did get a few melon cantaloupes, but this season, it just, the ones I started inside didn't do well and they died. So then I did them from seed. I think I got more sprouts at the store and they grew, but they just did not have enough time. Banquet dill. Dill is another great herb. It's not only delicious, but it's really beneficial for butterflies. They like to lay their eggs and larvae in it and they eat it too, I believe. And then more nasturtiums, the vanilla berry. This looks beautiful. And then we got borage, which is also an edible flower. I did not know. It tastes like cucumber. And then like I said, I did try to grow melons. So I grew little sugar babies. And I'll try to do those again. This is some sugar baby corn, which we've had corn a few years, and last year it did not do very well, but the year before that it did good, very well. So I'm actually thinking that if I do plant corn again this year, I'm going to plant it where I had my sunflowers last year, and see if I can just grow a couple rows along the fence, or I might do some grow bags. I have some 20-gallon grow bags, and I'm not going to do sweet potatoes again this year either. That's one of the crops I'm not doing. And I might just do some blocks of corn in those. So we'll see how it goes. I may or may not grow corn again, but the sugar baby is very good. These nasturtiums are gorgeous. They're an Alaska variegated, and look at those leaves. Aren't they beautiful? I'm excited to grow these. Yeah, they're gonna be really pretty. And then some sunflowers. We've got giant Sunzilla. Last year, sunflowers did great here for us. Our tallest one, I think, after we measured it the last final time, was like a little over 14 feet, I believe. They were huge. And I think it was a mammoth. There is the sunflower, the mammoth. And I'm hoping this year that I'll have some reseeding out there on their own. If there are, I'm just going to leave them. And then we've got some dwarf ones that are 18 inch to 24 inches because I want them to put some smaller ones in my actual beds with the fruit. Or the plants and stuff. Minnesota midget cantaloupes. And then I got this Astrogold sunflower because I just think the petals are great, how they're just kind of shreddy and feathery. And then I also got a golden honey bear. My sister loves these. She grew them in her garden and they were really cool. And then some mammoth dill. Another dill variety. Alright, and then we're almost done, I promise. Kind of went crazy this year, but it's nice to have all these. Of course, I'm not probably going to plant all of these seeds this year, so I won't probably have to buy a whole lot of seeds next year, so that's nice. Okay, so now we are going to go on to this next pile. And let me move this. Alright, so we've got cucumbers. I'm going to do the little muncher this year. Cucumbers, some years are good, some years they're not. Last year was not a good year. Not good. And the lemon cucumbers always do great, and they're prolific, and it's like my least favorite cucumber. I'm not growing that again this year. Petite pickles, the Cornichon. So I'm excited about those little tomatoes. The handmade pickles cucumber tomato for make pickles. I want to make pickles, canned pickles. I started canning. This was the first year I canned, so I want to try some pickles. The Space Master 80. This is smaller vines. I think they're 2 to 3 feet vines instead of really, really big long vines. So I just try to make more space or compact varieties if I can. Red Sales leaf lettuce, which is beautiful. We got Butterhead Bib, which is also yummy. This red Malabar spinach is I'm very happy about. It's not really a spinach, it's spinach-like. It's an Asian heirloom green variety, and it is just gorgeous. And it's a great climber, and it likes heat and cool weather. And I have a trellis that I put in last year that goes from one of my beds to the other, and I want this to take over it. I think it'll be really beautiful. I'm very excited about that. I also have some Rogue de Hyver lettuce I did last year. That did really well. I got little gem lettuce. I've got some Nero Toscana, some dinosaur kale, which did very well for me last year, although the aphids were just horrible. The aphids weren't as bad on that, the flatter leafed kale, but the curlier ones, they love all those little nooks and crannies, and it was such a pain. So this year I will be utilizing probably insect netting, along with doing some more organic insect prevention. So then I've got some broccoli de coco. We got some Bellstar broccoli, a couple different varieties of broccoli. I've got some Slow Bolt, 1 kilo Slow Bolt Napa cabbage. I love cabbage. Napa cabbage is delicious. I've got Crispy Color Duo kohlrabi. I've never had kohlrabi, but I want to grow it, and I think I'd really like it. In fact, there's a recipe on here that sounds amazing. It's like mashed potato. Oh, right here. Cook, flush, raw, cook and serve mashed with butter and soup or with cream sauce. So there's lots you can do with it. It's like any root vegetable, I think. Dazzling blue kale, that's more of a flat kale. That's really pretty as well. Not growing any curly kale this year. I don't eat it. I don't like it. Here's another narrow Toscana kale. I have some doubles of some things. This was an Ed Hume, and this is a Thai basil. I have some growing, and I just realized that I love Thai basil. It's amazing. It smells delicious. It's delicious. And then we got some holy basil, some tulsi, and this is very medicinal for making teas and things like that. It's like a nervine, so it helps you like relax. We've got some marigolds here. Marigolds are really good for pests. We got some snowball broccoli. We've got some basil, Genovese, regular Italian basil, which is delicious. I have some growing right now. We've got licorice basil, which I'm really excited about because I love anything licorice, and this I'm sure smells amazing and tastes amazing, and that'd be really good in like an iced tea. We got some just regular chives. I got some calabrese broccoli, another broccoli variety, another snowball. This looked really interesting. These little dragon's egg cucumbers. They are about the size of a large egg, sweet, mild, and bitter-free. So those sound amazing. Some purple crushed cauliflower. A purple Napa cabbage, which I'm really excited for. That's gonna be really good in like making kimchi or something. Broccoli, some Romanesco, it's just so cool to look at, and I wanna try to grow it. Some garlic chives. Hummingbird salvia. Like I said, I really upped my game this year for my flowers. Some alyssum. I got a couple different kinds of alyssum. Alyssum are gonna go plant it all in by my tomatoes with basil and stuff, because alyssum, I believe if I'm correct, attracts the fly or whatever that kills the horned tomato worm. I think, if I'm correct, that was what I heard. I was watching one of Kevin's on Epic Gardening or Epic Homestead, one of his videos on alyssum, and I believe that's what he was saying. And I thought, oh, well, that's great, because tomato hornworms, if you've ever found one in your garden, it's like, what the is that? They're nasty little creatures, and they're hard to see. And if you go with a black light at night, you can see them better because they glow, which is also very weird, because I'm pretty sure they are an alien species. Because just wait till you find one. Violet blue salvia. A lot of those are from my pollinators. Some zinnia, because they're just beautiful. I got German chamomile, very medicinal. Tiny Tim's sweet alyssum. This smells lovely. We got some pastel alyssum. We've got just normal echinacea purple coneflower, another medicinal plant. Some sweet baby romaine, because who doesn't like little things? And this looks really delicious. And also we've got some of the tender burpless cucumber. Okay, so I think that was all of my started before the last frost date inside things. I have things in here that can be started outside before the end of frost, but I want to get a jump start on stuff, so I do have some stuff that I'll do another video on that is just strictly like outside direct sowing. Some of that I am maybe going to try to sow inside. Like I've seen, like when you read the back of seed packets, like beets and corn and some greens and some things like that say sweet peas don't start inside, but I've seen other gardeners do it, and some of those seeds you buy, like I buy beet seeds or beet plants sometimes from the store when I go to Northwest Seed and Pet, which is one of my local stores here that has like it's kind of like a plants and gardening and some animal stuff and things like that. That's where I get my mulch and my dirt and things of that nature. So anyway, I will do another video on all of those things. that are supposedly or supposed to be direct sown outside either after the first frost when it's safe, no longer going to have a cold frost, and then temperatures don't get low, or it's just supposed to be put out before the frost a few weeks or whatever. So I'll do a video on that later.